Right, with us we have Gernot de Klerk, the Communications Manager of Nedbank Namibia. Now Gernot, once again this year we're going to be sponsoring the Nedbank Cycle Challenge as well as the mountain bike race. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's the 29th edition of the Nedbank Cycle Challenge that we'll be hosting this year. On the 23rd of February will be the road challenge, as we call it now. And we've, after the past 2-3 years, or past 2-3 editions, we've actually given each of the challenges, the mountain bike challenge and the road challenge, its own identity. Both then form part of the Nedbank Cycle Challenge. The road challenge, as I've mentioned, will happen on the 23rd of February on a Sunday. We hope to see in excess of 1,500 cyclists again take to the streets of Windhoek. On the mountain bike challenge, that'll happen on Saturday the 15th of February around the Maltpubliek area, starting again from Windhoek Gymnasium. The innovation this year is that in conjunction with the Namibian Cycling Federation, we'll also for the first time then host, as part of the Nedbank Mountain Bike Challenge, a national marathon MTB championships, where we'll crown an MTB champion in both the female and male categories.
Right, and another innovation this year, you're actually going to give loans to people who would like to compete and participate. Tell us about that.
We've just upgraded our Green Power Loan, and what we've said is that everybody who wishes to participate at the highest level possible would need the best quality bikes possible, apparel, gear, cycling kit, etc. So Nedbank, in conjunction with the major cycle shops in Windhoek and across the country, will, for the first time really in those cycle shops, make available the Green Power Loan. And for up to 30,000 Namibia dollars, anybody, any Namibian, anybody can walk into a cycle shop, decide what they want to buy from a bicycle perspective, get the kit, get the shoes, get the proper helmet, and then simply apply at any Nedbank branch for a loan of between 5,000 and 30,000 Namibia dollars. It's an unsecured loan, so there's a bit of a credit application that will happen behind the scenes. But the wish ultimately is to make sure that everybody who wishes to participate and participate at a very competitive level or take up cycling is in a position to do so.
Right, and Gano, it's interesting, Nedbank really getting in deeply with cycling now. You also sponsored the national team that participated at the Tour de Gabon and at the African Champs. It's a big investment, I understand close to $1 million, but how do you feel about that?
We've always said with the Nedbank Cycle Challenge that you see tremendous support from the cycling fraternity, but that happens over a weekend and for the past 2 years over alternate weekends. And then there isn't really talk of Nedbank being associated with cycling for the rest of the year. And we've teamed up with the Namibian Cycling Federation in particular, but with other organizations as well, Physically Active Youth, where we've now established the Nedbank Pay Elite Men's Cycling Team. And we've seen members of those teams starting to represent Namibia, going to Egypt for the African Continental Road Cycling Championships, but also at the Tour de Gabon, where they've assisted the likes of Dan Craven and Costa Sabeb to do as well as they did. So Nedbank's involvement with cycling is really saying that we want to develop the sport in conjunction with the Namibian Cycling Federation and other organizations. And that really is the aim, to make sure that whatever we do in hosting the biggest cycling event in Namibia, that there is let's call it a continued involvement from a Nedbank perspective and a corporate perspective. So we do say it's, yes, corporate social responsibility, but it's not only a choice, it's really a responsibility, and one that we're happy to assume that mantle. In conjunction with the Windhoek Pedal Power organization, we've started sponsoring the WPP series, as it was known. It's now the Nedbank series over 6 races, and we'll see cycling events for the first time held on an organized basis in places like Oshakati, in places like Rehoboth, where hopefully we'll encourage the next crop of premier cyclists, you know, the next Dan Craven, the next Manny Heymans, the next Toki Mombosch, Mark Batsingwaite, and you can name Eric Hoffman. So we hope that they'll start taking to cycling, and that we'll see the talent just continue to come through. In fact, last year's Nedbank Cycle Challenge, and it was evident for the past few years, we've seen youngsters performing and right up there at the very best of what cycling can offer in Namibia. So Nedbank's involvement on cycling is on a continued basis, and making sure that we do develop the sport and do our corporate bit for that purpose.